Happy New Year. It's great to be back. Compliments of the new season. This is 2025 and you're watching the biggest football show anyway in the country now. Is The Couch right here on ZTN Prime, proudly brought to you by Africa Bet. My name is Howard Musonza and we continue with our Zimbabwe Football Association Election Series, and in studio we are joined by one of the presidential aspiring candidates. He's in studio. His name is Nqobile Magwizi. Did I get it right?
You almost. Almost.
I know an hour is too long. I'll get it. I'll get it one way or the other. I have to get it. Right. It's great to have you here on ZTN Prime. How are you doing?
Thank you, my brother. Happy New Year to you too.
Yeah.
And good evening, viewers.
So, we are here to talk football.
Absolutely.
Because you look at all the sporting activities that we've got. We're not trying to look down upon any sporting activity, but football is the most supported. You know, the masses who will go for football any day.
Absolutely.
Right.
Absolutely.
So going around, whether you go to Bulawayo, you go to Mutare, you will find a football fan and people who are passionate about the game of football. What does football mean to you?
It's an amazing platform of social engagement. If you look at the football community, it's a huge community. You're probably looking at more than 10 million Zimbabweans who are active football community members. So as a result, it is an amazing platform to bring social cohesion, introduce strategies of development, talk about financial inclusion, talk about dealing with issues of information asymmetry in the financial sectors, talk about fighting poverty. So it's an amazing platform that can bring about social change in terms of growth of people's livelihoods, as it were. So football is an amazing platform that we could use to benefit Zimbabweans from all corners of life.
So thank you. You have taken us, at that level, But I want to focus on Nqobile, who is a youngster. Where did you grow up?
I was born. My early days were in Gokwe.
In Gokwe, all right.
Yeah.
So we want to start the story from Gokwe.
Absolutely.
Right.
Yeah.
So let's look at the young Nqobile. You are in Gokwe there.
Yes.
Right. And obviously maybe there's a little radio somewhere. You are hearing some of the great commentators that have come through, the likes of Evans Mambara, doing commentary. and you are painting pictures in your head.
Yes.
What was football then for you, down there in Gokwe?
Football was everything to life. In fact, it was our connection to the rest of the world. Evans Mambara was an amazing commentator, and we would listen to him. We had the 777 radio station, little radio that was very affordable. I had an older brother of mine, Eliphas. He bought that radio, and all of us would huddle around that little radio to listen to commentary. He was an avid Dynamo supporter, and I had another brother, Temba, who was also an avid Caps United supporter. My dad was an avid Highlanders supporter, so it was an interesting setup, But we grew up listening to matches, and it was...
And for you, which team were you supporting?
I supported a lot of teams because I had three older, people in my family. So I was... I would, go between Highlanders, Dynamos, Caps United. But because I was young, I was allowed to do that. Because there was always contestation in the home as to which team would go with. But growing up in Gokwe, it was the only connection we had with the civilized world, as it were. A lot of times you're really there with in the rural areas, taking care of the cows, sometimes having to go to the field. As young as I was, we had responsibilities to take care of. Went to a school called Chegama Primary School. For grade 1, I was taken by Mrs. Chiweshe. She's still there. Amazing teacher. And amazing experiences there in Gokwe.
So if I take you back there,
yes,
you're talking about your brothers, Temba, your dad, your other brother, and you, in that household,
Yes.
there's a Highlander supporter, there's a Cap supporter,
Yeah.
there's a Dynamo supporter, and Nqobile is right there floating, amongst all these teams.
Yeah.
So imagine there's a young Nqobile right now
Yeah.
who is down there in Gokwe.
Yeah.
There's another one in Bulawayo, another one in Mutare.
Dotito.
So what the game meant to you
Yeah.
is probably what it means to them,
Absolutely.
and even more.
Yes.
Right. So I started by asking you what football means to you
Yeah.
now. Because now you're more enlightened.
Yes.
You've seen the world.
Yes.
And it means something to you.
Yes.
So what we want to do now is to segue our way from that Nqobile
Yes.
to this Nqobile. Which team do you support?
Locally,
Which team do you support?
that's a very difficult question because I'm involved with a lot of teams at various levels.
No. I want, because you know what?
Yes.
I'm a journalist.
Yes.
But I will tell you, before being a journalist, I'm a human
Sure.
being.
Yes. Absolutely.
Yes. And if you ask me about the things that I will tell you.
Sure.
But because I've been in certain positions, I've done this and that, yes, I can give you an answer probably that goes with what I'm doing. But if you ask how deep down a question,
Yeah.
which team do you support? I'm going to tell you, despite being a journalist.
fair
But
enough,
which team do you support?
So I'll be frank with you. The East teams at Gokwe, we have a team called CK, which I'm working with very closely. I have another team called Banket, which I'm working with. I have Highlanders, which I'm also working with closely. I'm working with Dynamos closely. And there's more Chelsea at international level. I also support Real Madrid. But most importantly, the most important team to me is the national Zimbabwean team at all its levels. So I know it's a very. It sounds like I'm trying to run away from your question. I've worked with a number of teams. I think in summary, and I sympathize with a lot of Zimbabwean teams. But the teams that I'm really working closely with, obviously, they mean a lot to me.
Okay. Yeah, you're trying to run away from it. But you can pose that question to me. And I'll give it to you straight away.
Which one is your favorite?
I support Caps United.
Lovely.
But you look at what I do.
Yes.
I do commentary for all teams.
Yes.
I go and interview different coaches. I interview different appropriators of teams. I talk to a lot of people.
All right.
But this is a team that I grew up
chose.
supporting.
Yeah,
the
absolutely.
team that, when chips go down, I get to also sneeze because things are not well. But I understand you and what you're trying to do. But Nqobile, on to more serious issues.
Sure.
You are running for Zifa president.
Yes.
Right. And I'm going to go back since 1980, the birth of Zimbabwe.
Yes.
We've had a great man who have taken charge of our game. John Madzima, you come through, Leo Mugabe, Trevor Karausa Jew, Rafik Khan, Kat Dube, Wellington Nyatanga, Kamambo Chiyangwa. They have been in charge of the game.
Yes.
What is wrong with our game? Because I'm seeing a lot of people. You're coming from the corporate world.
Yeah.
I've seen a lot of people who have come through from the corporate world.
Yes.
Some great men, who have also come through. But we are where we are because we are steeped in that history that was created by the men, that you are, trying to fill their shoes.
Yeah, sure.
Yeah. What is wrong with our game? Because we are seated here. We look at Zimbabwe. Is our football going the way we want? What is wrong with our game?
I think currently, our game is characterized with by a number of challenges that have beset it. The fact that there was a normalization committee which was put in place shows that things were not normal. So there was need to address the abnormalities. You will notice that issues of corporate governance were a huge issue. Issues of transforming the game so that it becomes more commercial, it can self-sustain, I think have become issues. Boardroom fights, I think most of the boards have been going through various fights.
Yeah, but you are taking me through maybe, I know you've got a great manifesto.
Yes.
Where you are listing down all these things.
Truly,
but let's take it from the surface.
Yeah.
Nqobile, because you want to look at maybe even from number one, the president himself,
Yes.
to the last person whom you can think of. I remember the great Peter Drury, the commentator. He did the World Cup final in 2006, and Germany won it. And he was poetic in his just going through how Germany had won it. He said from the chancellor to the chief seat. So he was trying to encompass everybody. If people were to ask you today, because they are professors, where you come from, they need to understand what is wrong with our football.
I think we have not embraced an understanding of how this football ecosystem could be optimized in creating value for all the stakeholders within that ecosystem. As you've said, it's a huge ecosystem. We have the young children who are in the remotest parts of Zimbabwe. We have the executives. We have the general workers. We have the leaders of the country. All of them. And one thing that I think which is very clear is that football is that platform where people from all different walks of life can come together. And what we've failed to do over the years is to harness that system so that it addresses the needs of each and every stakeholder within that ecosystem in a sustainable manner. Right now, a lot of our teams are struggling to find sponsorship. All right. If you look at the grassroots, the young people who are playing football, they don't have adequate support. If you look at our infrastructure, it's been deteriorating. In fact, our national team has been playing outside of the country as a consequence of lack of a proper stadium that is CAF approved. So we've had all these challenges. And what I'm saying to you is that we have this ecosystem and there's need to approach it with that respect to say we need to make it work for all the stakeholders. We have the players who are at the core. We have the coaches. We have the bus drivers. We have the families where these players are coming from, the wives, the children, who are all participating in this ecosystem. So we need an approach that addresses the needs of all the stakeholders in a sustainable manner. So that at the end of the day, when all is said and done, teams that are at the professional level, they are running sustainably. The players get their salaries. Those that are in the amateur level, they are also running sustainably. Those that are doing the stadium, the groundsmen, they are also getting good salaries and they are happy to be doing their job. The bus drivers. So there is need to have a broader view of this platform. So this platform is no longer just a platform where we go and while up our time. It's more than football. It is a platform that can help transform people's life right across Zimbabwe.
So do you think you're the right person, you are that person to bring all these together?
Absolutely. I believe I'm the right person.
Why?
Well, the thing is, I think I have the expertise, my experience, and my interaction with the industry, the football community over the years has allowed me to have insight as to the areas that I can attend to and areas that I could influence for positive change and for growth that is necessary to see us compete globally with countries like Spain. We should be able to compete. We should be able to compete with countries. Right now, Zambia has done amazing things. We need to be able to compete with Zambia. South Africa, we've seen South Africa. They were way behind us in the 80s in terms of football. But right now, we are coming across like we're a big joke. And I believe I have the right strategy to bring Zimbabwe up to the global stage where we can compete and we can raise our flag high and be proud of being Zimbabwean because we are doing things correctly.
So I was going through your manifesto just before we started, and you've got a glowing CV. For a corporate world executive, you fit in right, like a jigsaw puzzle. You fit in right there.
Yes.
I'm looking at Zimbabwe football now.
Yeah.
And there is Nqobile Magwizi. We have heard so many stories from our football. You know, there are terms like the Guptas who have captured the game. You know, right now you're trying to also appeal to some councillors who are responsible for making sure that they put the right person in charge of our football. Look, you have also taken us through, you know, some of the things that you think are wrong with our football. With that heavyweight background of a corporate executive, do you think that's what's needed right now in football?
Absolutely. That's exactly what's needed. Look, here's the thing. As I've said, the community, football community is huge. But there's processes that happen within our society, right? And I think it's important for Zimbabweans who are listening to me right now to take these processes seriously and decide to participate, to put up their hands and participate in these social processes where they believe and they are convinced that they can add value. I believe I can add value in the football space, and I've put my hand up to serve Zimbabwe in that regard. Now, if there's somebody else who's better than me, I think they can also do the same, and we can have a race around this matter. And of course, let the best man win. There's nothing wrong with that. It's a process that is for our community, and Zimbabweans, anybody who's holding a Zimbabwean passport who believes they can add value to Zimbabwe, they must put their hand up and be considered for the process. And at the end of the process, let the best man do the job and deliver for Zimbabwe. That's what we all want. We want to raise our flag up high and celebrate Zimbabweanness. It's not about Nqobile Magwizi, my name, but it's about us creating a platform where the best amongst us help us achieve great things. You know, we are regarded, based on the West amongst us. You know that. If we allow them to take positions. But we must look for the best amongst us to participate in the race. So this is a race. The electorate will decide on who's the best among the people that are in the race. And then we'll take it up from there. I will respect whatever decision the electorate will make, and I'll support.
So I'm gonna put you on the spot.
Yes.
So you are in this race because you've taken us to that side.
Yeah.
There's Makwinji Somapiri.
Absolutely. Yeah.
He's a former footballer.
Former Dynamos, former Islanders. Yes. Good brother of mine.
There's also Farai Jere dropped out.
Yeah.
There's Twine Piri. He's also an administrator. He's been there, seasoned administrator.
Former PSL, yes.
And you also look at yourself, of course, and I also know there's
Kweza,
Martin Kweza. He's done stuff with the Northern region.
Yes.
Yeah, he's also an administrator. He's good in his own right. Yeah, there's Marshall Gore. He's done his bit in supporting the game. And there's Phil Machana. He's also done his bit.
He's
been in previous executives. He's also done his bit. I'm sure he's got a team that is. So when I look at Magwizi, and I'm looking at his CV, what he's done, and how do you see your competition?
I think there is very strong competition, and I respect all the other competitors. I think they have earned their right to be in the race. And of course, I think the councillors will make the decision. I have a lot of respect to the work they've done. There's a lot of good things which they are obviously saying regarding the growth of our game. Obviously, I respect them, and I definitely wish them the best in the race. But I am presenting my case. I've put my hand up. And I have clarity. I have clarity in terms of what I believe needs to happen in Zimbabwean football. And I'm clear as to how far we can take this and how this will transform the lives of the football community members. And I'm just hoping that the electorate or the councillors will see things the way I'm seeing them, and they will hold hands together with me so that we can chart a new chapter for Zimbabwean football.
You're watching The Culture right here on ZTN Prime, and in a studio we are joined by Nqobile Magwizi. He's an aspiring Zifa presidential candidate. Remember, the elections are on the 25th of January 2025 to choose the right man to lead Zimbabwe football. Remember, we've been in the doldrums. 1 year, 4 months, we were suspended. Right now, our game is being driven by a normalization committee. They've been there for over a year now, and their mandate is coming to an end, and we need to see somebody who will take the mantle and lead Zimbabwe football. Is Nqobile Magwizi the right person to lead our football? Stay with us right here on The Couch, proudly brought to you by Africa Bet.
In a land where traditions run deep, where the soil holds the secrets of generations, and where dreams are sown alongside seeds, a new generation emerges. Welcome to Young Seeds. Get ready to embark on a journey like no other as we shine a spotlight on the dynamic and inspiring young farmers in the heartland of Zimbabwe.
To do it because plants will die, plants will get infected by diseases.
I try to do mixed farming, that is also putting tomatoes. I have half a hectare of tomatoes.
Every 40 days it has to be giving birth.
Produce a good quality fruit size. Well, calves are kept in different pens, basically so that they don't spread diseases to each other.
My name is Tariwa Sibauke. I'm a rabbit farmer.
These young farmers are revolutionizing traditional practices, embracing technology, and finding sustainable solutions that will shape the future of agriculture. So, let's get our hands dirty.
The Phoenix Podcast has always brought you the best of the best.
I missed on that blessing, but I also regained it in some way.
In seasons 1 and 2, we introduced you to the industry's brightest stars, the ones at the top of their game, the creme de la creme. But season 3 promises to be even more exciting. We're bringing you even more fascinating guests, including the renowned farmer, Patrick Matadi. And to top it all off, our very own host, Ken Sharp, will be stepping out of the interviewer's chair and into the hot seat as he gets interviewed by a surprise guest host.
From the boss, we've been beaten, but we're not beaten yet. We can still rise.
Konapo Konapo, Ipapo Ipapo, by ZTN Prime, DSTV channel 294, the place to be.
It is The Couch, the biggest football show anyway in the country right now, and it's happening right here on ZTN Prime, proudly brought to you by Africa Bet. And in studio, we are continuing with the Zifa Election Series, and today we are joined by Nqobile Magwizi. He's an aspiring presidential candidate. Is he the right man to take our football forward? Is there the right man? Come the 25th of January, can the councillors who are mandated to choosing the leader for Zimbabwe football go towards Magwizi? Let's get to, hear more about what he thinks about the game. So we spoke about, your background and what you think is wrong with our football. Now we need to go forward.
True.
I remember asking you about the team that you support.
Yes.
But obviously the pinnacle
Yes.
are the national teams.
Absolutely.
Because you are a Zimbabwean.
Yes.
At the end of the day, you support Caps, you support Highlanders, you support Conduit, you support Cyclone Queens, you support Black Rhinos, you support the Rentals. At the end of the day, we all congregate
Around Zimbabwe national team.
Yes. So we've got the Warriors and the mighty Warriors, the young Warriors cascading, going down. And I look at the position that we are in. Yes, we've gone to the Africa Cup of Nations. We've won COSAFA before.
Yes.
I want to see your dream. How big is your dream when it comes to Zimbabwe football?
I believe we can be regular participants at the World Cup. We can be regular participants there. Once we set the foundations and we keep things moving, we can be known as a leading footballing nation in Africa. That is the dream. We must be known for our excellence in football because we've set up the necessary structures that will sustain the excellence that we desire for.
What are these structures? What do we need? What are these structures?
So in my manifesto, I speak about 5 pillars. The reason why I speak to the 5 pillars because it's a progression of the things that need to be done. Firstly, we need to fix the institution, which is Zifa. We need to ensure that the brand is strong, that the brand can be trusted, that people can feel good when they're around that brand, that they're not worried that things will go wrong the moment that you mention Zifa. You want people to have confidence that this brand is transparent, this brand is accountable. So it's very, very important to ensure that the institution itself is stable with a solid foundation, and it's not an institution which can be driven by the whims of one person or few people. Even in the absence of myself or anyone else who may win the election, the institution must be able to stand for itself and be able to go into the future.
How are you hoping to clean? Because you look at Zimbabwe football, Zifa,
yes,
the association, the image is battered.
Absolutely.
You go out there, there are a lot of creditors. There are a lot of people who are owed money by Zifa. There was a man called Philip Chiangwa.
Yes.
He came into football. He tried to create a different creature away from Zifa. You called it Nafaz. And it was short-lived. It was aborted. Yeah. But he was trying to run away from that battered image.
Yeah.
But no matter how he tried, that image followed Zimbabwe football. Because right now you go into the streets, it's all about Zimbabwe. How do you hope to clean such
image
a
is about, so image is about the brand. It's all about what you promise, the culture that is there, the processes which you have within that institution. It forms the core of the brand. So it's about us looking at our culture. What is the culture of Zifa? So we need... The president of Zifa will be taking the responsibility of shaping the culture of the institution. He'll be responsible for shaping the processes through the policies that you oversee, having oversight over all the activities and over the secretariat. So he will guide the processes that will create brand Zifa. When the brand is good, then you can start talking to your partners. So pillar number 1, we're talking about the institution and making it solid, having integrity, ensuring that there is a governance framework that everyone is clear about. The processes are not in one man's pocket or one man's head. No, they are known by everybody. And you can leave today, another president will come in, they will know these are the Zifa processes. This is the culture of Zifa going forward. And it is a culture that everybody loves to be associated with. Then once you have a good institution, now you need to build strong partnerships. Now, you need to build a strong partnership with government. I mean, that's your main partner. Government must have confidence that this institution of Zifa knows what it's doing. They should not be...
So I hear you as the man who's at the helm. You are trying to lead the strategic framework, so to speak, so that whatever you're thinking, you need everybody to fall in line.
Absolutely.
Now you're talking about partnerships.
Yes.
Because we had people who were there before. Some corporate heavyweights, Kabe Dube, for example. Yes. He had the ears of the government. Philip Chiangwa, same thing. What are you going to do differently that you think the government are going to come in full throttle? Because when I look at government, they have been involved. Recently, we had the president give the Warriors players 6,500 each for qualifying for Africa Cup of Nations. of course, you talk about it, but what do you think you need to do differently so that you've got the ministry really behind, solidly behind, not partially, but solidly behind? Because we have seen, you go further afield, you go to West Africa, you know, the national teams heavily funded by the governments.
Yeah, if you look
you
at
go
Morocco
to North
well.
Africa, the Maghreb nations heavily funded by the government.
Absolutely.
The team is going to South Africa, they charter a plane.
Absolutely.
The team is going this charter. What do you think Magwizi is going to do differently that Katbe Dube didn't do, that Liam Gabe didn't do, that Philip Chiangwa didn't do?
All right, so the approach really is looking at the whole ecosystem. But one of the things that I could say right now is that they never worked on the brand. There was no investment in building a solid institution to ensure that even in their absence, this institution can withstand whatever challenges that will be thrown at it. So I've said, we need to build a strong institution, but that's not enough all on its own. Because a good institution without commercial activities, without partners, without infrastructure, without technical prowess on the field of play, is just but an institution. Soon enough, it will start deteriorating. So I've said, we need a strong institution as the first pillar. Secondly, once we can convince our partners that we have something that is good going on here, which has good processes within it, with a good culture, we bring on our partners. Partners are important because they will help us achieve our goals. You talk about triple Ps in building of infrastructure. Talk about coming up with programs in the rural areas, in remote areas, perhaps working with institutions such as UNICEF. Very, very important. You then have to look at how these partners can add value to the growth of the football community. Once we have dealt with the partners, the next thing we're looking at is the commercialization of the game. There is a number of things that can be done to make football sustainable in Zimbabwe. I'll just give you one example of many. If Zifa was going to own a brand, a sport brand, maybe call it Warriors, and we leverage on that brand in terms of merchandising, all the national teams wearing that brand, which are produced by Zifa, all the professional league teams wearing that same brand, all the schools, everybody who plays football being encouraged to buy that brand. Imagine, we're talking about just the uniforms. Then we can go to merchandise, balls. We can go to equipment that is used, by the coaches. We can go to little toys that are used by little children. And again, we can create a whole ecosystem. Imagine when Zimbabwe is winning at AFCON in 2025 this year. And there's 2 million Zimbabweans who decide to buy a replica jersey, Warriors jersey, which is branded Warriors, which we own. And on each jersey, we are making a profit, say, for instance, of even $5 times 2 million. That's already $10 million that we can make on a commercial basis. But it's one side of the commercial side. There's many other things, the broadcast space.
All right, let's focus on the commercial side. You're watching The Couch right here on ZTN Prime, proudly brought to you by Africa Bet, and we are continuing with our Zimbabwe Football Association Election Series. And today in studio, we're joined by one of the aspiring presidential candidates, Nqobile Magwizi, and he's just taking us through as we discuss his thoughts about the game of football in Zimbabwe. And so, I know when you look at the game from that perspective, merchandising is very, very important.
Very important, yeah.
But let's look at Zimbabwe in general. You go to South Africa, you go to Europe, people there have got disposable income for these things.
Yeah.
I'm going to give you an example of the Premier Soccer League, which is our top flight league. You know, you've got fans for Dynamos, Highlanders,
yes,
Caps United and all. They have tried to sell replica jerseys. And the amounts vary from 25 to 50 bucks. How many have managed to buy that? That's one. Number two, you look at how people have been going to the various stadia around the country to watch the game. Yes, you're going to talk to us about television rights and all that because that's where the game is. But you need that atmosphere in the stadium. For example, this past season, on average, if you take away Highlanders, how many people did go to watch Dynamos? is one of our rulers. How many people are watching Caps?
So you're talking about the past, right?
Yes.
I thought we were talking about the future.
No, we are talking about the future, but we need to anchor it somewhere.
Absolutely, absolutely. I think, and it's beautiful because if we review where we've come from and we have noted why things have been what they've been. We went through COVID, and all our fans, had to be stopped from attending matches as a consequence of COVID. And then soon after that, we had the ban, and after the ban, of course, then the normalization commit came. Now, I've spoken to you that the first critical thing is building an institution and ensure that the brand is acceptable amongst the fans. So the moment that we build a good brand, people want to be associated with that brand. Now, there's people that support Real Madrid or Barcelona or Chelsea. Those people, even in Zimbabwe, they are proud to wear those jerseys. You know why? It's about branding. So that's why I say the first pillar of my manifesto is the brand, is the institution, where we are dealing with issues of the brand, ensuring that the processes are clear, the culture is clear. Once we get that aligned, we bring in partners. I'll give you an example under partnership. One of the things we could do. There's NGOs that are working with issues of drug abuse in Zimbabwe. We can partner them, discuss with the PSL, ensure that all children that are below, say, 13 years go into the matches for free. That's partnership. But you know what that will do? We are having all these youngsters in all the communities going into the stadium, filling up the stadium. And again, we already have people there. That's captive market for those that may want to, display some of their goods. But the NGO that we are partnering is communicating to this captive audience. So there is many things we can put in place to make sure that we address some of the challenges that you're talking about right now, which are current. And this is why I'm saying I believe I have clarity in terms of where we need to go as a country, as a footballing nation. And of course, I'm appealing to the football community to see things the way I'm seeing them. And I believe we can really, really transform our football journey as a nation.
Okay, I'm going to touch on the brand just a little bit more because you really want to knuckle down on the brand.
Well, the pillar is, my manifesto is 5 pillars.
Yeah, it's got.
So the brand falls under the institution.
Every time we're going to partnerships, we're going to something else, but you are, going back on the brand. So that's
the foundation.
Yeah, here is Nqobile Magwizi, the brand.
Yes.
He's done his bit in the corporate world.
Yes.
Respected businessman.
Yes.
Who's coming in with, with everything that you've done for the game via different partnerships that you've helped structure.
True.
Right. I'm going to use the everyday parlance. Hans Magwizi, Arkuya Zifa, because quite be a maristeric. Magwizi is clean. Maybe Magwizi and Mariake, Magwizi will not steal. Right. So this is what people are saying because one, there was a lot of corruption. Because FIFA money is coming from FIFA and allegations of corruption rampant. But here's Magwizi who's coming, squeaky clean image. And again, I'll go back. Cuthbert Dube was there. Top businessman, respected. He came in with the same mantra. I want to clean the corrupt Zifa, and I want to make sure that money is flowing. And he's coming from the corporate world again, where he's hugely respected. He comes in. What did Cuthbert Dube end up doing? End up sponsoring the team himself. So here is Magwizi. Here's Magwizi, how we ask Kubamari. Right. Magwizi asked Kubamari because maybe Magwizi anayomari. But that image, how do you hope to clean it? Because it's tainted, Nqobile.
Yeah. So it's not about me. I'm supposed to spearhead, should I win, the processes within the institution. Very, very important. That it's not about the individual. The moment that there's a perception that Magwizi is supposed to use his personal money to address all the challenges, then I've failed. There is need to build an institution that can be sustainable even beyond the time of a president. If we can build an institution that can live through all the challenges and be able to address them adequately, that is what we want.
Let's say you win. How long are you giving yourself to clean this image?
So the term is 4 years. I have a 100-day plan, which obviously I would need to implement should I win. Then after that, you know that there is the AFCON that is taking place end of this year. And there's also the World Cup that is coming up in the following year. Those are the priority areas. But what is important is to make sure once the executive has been put in place, the next thing, which I would propose, obviously, to the Assembly, is the regularization of the current councillors. I don't think we have enough time to even contemplate. I've seen in some spaces in the media that, there's going to be elections. My recommendation, of course, to the Assembly would be, let's keep the experience that's there. Let's have continuity. Let's allow those people who've been in the trenches with experience, who've gone through the normalization processes, who've gone through COVID, who've gone through the ban, with that wisdom and experience, let's consolidate, let's regularize their positions. Let's work together towards ensuring that Zimbabwe does well going into the future, so that we focus on the pertinent issues that will make our game even better.
So while you are there, I will come in and say, why does Magwizi want to keep the dead wood? Because these guys have been there in football for all this long.
Yeah.
If there are any problems in our football, if there are any, I will say, this is me. They are part of the problem. So why not just get somebody who's been in the trenches? Because have you been in the trenches before?
Yes, I've been in the trenches.
How deep have you been in the trenches?
I've experienced the pain of having to fund a team continuously and you never make a profit. A lot of the councillors that are out there, they've used personal resources, personal savings to keep the game going. They feed the players that then go into the national teams and nobody sometimes recognizes them. So it is important to not to just generalize and say those people that are out there, the councillors, they are responsible for where we are. In fact, I would say, challenge you and say the administrations that have been there before have been responsible of bringing us to where we are. This is why we're actually having this normalization committee in place. A lot of the councillors, they are passionate members of the football community, and they do whatever it takes to keep the game flowing, to ensure that we have national team players that are coming in. I was speaking to one councillor in Mlawayo. They sent a team to South Africa. That team did so well. They've been invited to get back there. Do you know who recognizing them? No one. It's the councillor. He raises the money himself to do those things. Now, when we get to this platform at national level, we totally disregard the councillors. Do you know why? Because we think we have all sorted out at this level. It is unfortunate because these people are very key to the growth of our game. Now, can we improve how they operate? Yes. This is why I've already engaged University of Cape Town in regards to partnership with perhaps Midland State University, so that we can have programs of development for these councillors and any other leaders in football, so that we can have people that know what needs to be done and they can improve their skill using their passion, and that we've already seen demonstrated over the years. Equip them with adequate knowledge, so that even as they operate in Zimbabwe, they are feeding well nicely and working closely with the administration at the top to ensure that Zimbabwe continues to grow.
So it's a good thing that you touched on as somebody who's struggling, to raise a team, whether it's Division 2, whether it's Division 1. But let's look at the pinnacle. We've got the Premier Soccer League.
Yes.
We've seen a lot of teams come in, folding.
Yes.
Motor Action, Blackpool, Hackney, Hardbody, Gunners. The list is too long.
Yeah.
Individuals who have come in, poured in a lot of resources. We had the team called Shooting Stars, owned by Joe Sengeredo. You look at him, is he the same person right now after football is taken away from him? We've got a lot of people who are like that. Nqobile Magwizi is elected president today. How do you protect the integrity of people like that who are coming in to make sure that the game continues? Because when you look at the national level, yes, you can look for partners. You can look to the government to pour in money. But is this also cascading to the lower divisions, to the Premier Soccer League?
Well done. Well, thank you very much. And that's a very important question. The professional league. So this is the structure of football currently. We have the professional league at the top. Then obviously we have the regions that give us our Division 1s. Then we obviously have at professional level, we now have the Division 2s and all the other, the schools and all that. That's the structure. Obviously, we need to relook at the structure on why was money not flowing through the system and going to grassroots? Why was money not flowing? It was because the administration would make decisions for everybody else. So there's need to revise that structure and audit that structure and say, is this structure the best for Zimbabwe? My view is that the current structure is not the best for Zimbabwe. We need definitely a professional level where we have the premiership women, premiership men, and then we have the futsal and the beach football at the professional level, right? Then we go to the regions. My view is we need to organize the regions into associations, right? And at every regional level, there must be an assembly that meets as well. Each region with its own leader that will feed into the National Assembly, right? When we do that, each region must get its budget and it will have its provinces under it. And there will be provincial leaders. So each province will have its budget, the zones will have its budget feeding in to the national budget. And when the funds are distributed, say we have FIFA fund, forward funds that are coming through, they must go all the way down to where they are needed. Not for somebody who's sitting in an office in Harare making a decision for someone who is in Guruwe. This is what they should get. And we've seen that has caused a lot of problems. This is why we are where we are, because the structure was put in somebody's pocket. And a few people would decide what happens. And unfortunately, we see the results.
Nqobile Magwizi, an aspiring Zifa presidential candidates. Remember, the Zifa elections are on the 25th of January to choose the new leaders of our game. Remember, we've been in the doldrums. 1 year, 4 months, we were suspended from world football. Then came the normalization committee. And now, as we try to normalize, is Nqobile Magwizi the right person to lead Zimbabwe football? This is The Couch, right here on ZTN Prime, proudly brought to you by Africa Bet. Stay with us.
They call me Racer X, or in this case, Racer J. All right.
Put your seatbelt on.
Catch exclusive interviews every weekday for candid, exciting, and thought-provoking conversations with your host, Erika Ndoro.
We talk about arts, we can talk about sports, we can even talk about politics, and sometimes we venture into a nice guitaristic play.
The one story where you can't get out of your head. So Erika, like where you're sitting. Face so personal
music Afro music
And I'm sure they're still saying the same thing now.
Yeah, so
Shona kana kuti chindevere kana mumwe mutaure muno muZimbabwe ndiwe iwewe ndiwo rupawo rwako ndicho chidadiso chako.
Catch me, Erika Ndoro, right here on ZTN Prime every single Monday at 7 p.m. whilst we get exclusive.
You're watching The Couch right here on ZTN Prime, and today we are discussing and discussing through the upcoming Zifa elections. We've got an aspiring presidential candidate, Nqobile Magwizi, has been taking us through what is in his manifesto, also trying to answer one or two questions that you at home have been posing on these elections that are coming up, and who is the right person to lead Zimbabwe football. Do you think Nqobile Magwizi is the right person to lead Zimbabwe football? Get in touch with us. We're all over social media at ZTN Prime, on X at ZTN Prime, on YouTube. We're also on Facebook. For the millennials, the Gen Zs, we're also on TikTok. You'll find us there and talk to us. What do you think? Is Magwizi the right person to lead Zimbabwe football? So I'm going to go back to 2016. Zimbabwe women, the mighty warriors, were on top of the world. We went to the Rio Olympic Games.
Yes.
That's the pinnacle, eh? That's the grand stage.
They did very
and
well.
Zimbabwe is there. You're seeing the major Nyaumes of this world. You know, Chido Zengarai, Nobuhle Majika, you know, doing their stuff on the world stage. Of course, people will talk about the World Cup, but I always rank the Olympic Games, you know, as the pinnacle. We played against Germany. We played against Australia. Huge score lines, huge margins. You know, Zimbabwe getting the long end of the stick. And I was thinking, fast forward now, about what? We're almost 10 years now. Next year, it will be 10 years after the Rio Olympic Games. We are supposed to have progressed. But instead, we have regressed. You look at the girl child, the Premier League itself. Varikutamba bhora muchemanza, muzvikwakwa. People are not taking the women's game seriously. What is wrong with us as a people? How important is the girl child to Nqobile Magwizi?
Very, very important. You know, women are key to the progression of any society. Very, very key. I mean, every one of us is born of a mother. And we know what women can do if they are given resources. They are able to grow resources. They offer, they provide a spirit of, you know, connectivity. They help the society to be cohesive. That's what women can do. And they're very important to the growth of football.
So how come Nqobile Magwizi has never championed for the girl child? Why am I saying this? You were instrumental in bringing Sakunda sponsorship to Dynamos, Sakunda sponsorship to Highlanders, but not even a single women's football team.
No, we have actually engaged women teams across Zimbabwe. And some of
Is there a team that Sakunda is sponsoring?
Oh, by the way, Sakunda is a client of mine.
So you were instrumental.
As you may be aware, the teams, Highlanders and Dynamos, they have women's teams as well, which obviously benefit out of that structure. So
they supposedly have women's teams.
Obviously, we don't interfere with how the teams are running their affairs, but what is presented to us, what we discuss in the strategic planning sessions is what we go by. I mean, I've been in strategy sessions with Dynamos and Highlanders, and those issues that which you are raising, I mean, were pertinent. Even the lady representatives, women represented in those teams, were participants in those strategy sessions. So it would be uninformed to say these teams do not have, or we deliberately went on to work with these teams as a sign to run away from our responsibility towards women football in Zimbabwe. So yes, we are passionate. We understand what value women do bring to our society, and as a result, any opportunity we are given to work with women, from my point of view as a consultant, definitely I would work with women any time. I mean, there's teams that we keep speaking to, you know, and we have a good relationship that's going on.
So Magwizi, does he have a bag full of sponsors that he wants to bring to football? Because that's what people are saying.
Sponsors always look for value. They want to associate with the brand that also strengthens their brand. As long as we fail to fix the Zifa institution, to fix the Zifa brand, it will be a difficult task to convince anybody who's also trying to make their brand stronger, you know, to associate it with the weaker brand. So we need to ensure that we make our brand, Zifa brand attractive Once it's attractive, you will find out that everybody will be running to partner Zifa because it will be the place to be. And that's what we're going to achieve. And we're going to do it.
Don't you have a seat, you know, since you started, you know, thinking about this? I've got a very colorful CV. Maybe this Zifa thing is going to taint my image.
Actually, a friend of mine, friends of mine have actually spoken to me. Magwizi, this is could be beneath you. Why are you tarnishing yourself? Kubora, you know, there's always mudslinging and all those sorts of things. But this is my community as well. This is my community, and it's important to participate in our community. You know, the moment you think that you're above your community, it's a big problem, because you know, reality is, in as much as you might get successful and you might be somewhere else, at the end of the day, you must be connected to your community. And I encourage Zimbabweans who feel they are better than their communities to come down to earth and consider their communities. Even if you grow up in Kumusha, go and invest there and make sure that your community is looking good. You know, it's very, very important. This thing of thinking that you've become better than your community, it's absolute nonsense. My view is, whether you're educated or not, you're still as good as the West member in your community. So if perchance you think that you're better, you are lost.
Did you ever play football in your life at any level?
Of course. I mean, on the street, you know what we do when we're growing up? After putting the alcohols into the crow, we then play outside in the crow. You know, that's how we were.
What were you calling yourself?
We would call ourselves Moses Chunga, or you know, Peter was way younger, but Madinda was also Sticks Mtizwa, you know, all those people. We used to call ourselves those you know, the names of those guys who were preeminent during those times.
So why am I taking this lighter approach?
Yeah.
Because as we close,
yes,
there are a lot of aspiring footballers out there.
Yes.
Down there in Gokwe.
Yes.
Down there in Checheche, in Murewa, in Mutare, Mzarabani.
Yes.
There are a lot of aspiring footballers who are calling themselves Tanaka Shandirwa, who are calling themselves Walter Musona, who are calling themselves Ronaldo. Because they look at football and some see an escape.
Absolutely.
Some see the lights.
Yes.
And they are looking at you, an aspiring candidate. Will you be able to bring that to them? In 1 minute, just look at that camera. Sell yourself to the electorate. 1 minute.
Absolutely. I think we have an opportunity to transform Zimbabwean football forever. We have a lot of young people who are looking for an opportunity to come out of poverty and be able to participate at the global stage. And this is the opportunity that we want to give each one of them. We have clarity in terms of where we need to go. Our strategy with our 5 pillars, where we need to build a strong institution, build good partnerships, commercialize the game, build infrastructure, and of course, have technical prowess and development that will sustain our game going into the future is what we're looking at. So my drive, as I sit here, is as a nation, let's come together. Let's introspect. Let's be honest with one another. We know that which is good. On a football pitch, if Zimbabwe loses, the results are not difficult to decipher. So it's important for us to put our heads together and work towards a common goal of making Zimbabwe great in football. I thank you.
Your minute is up. Nqobile Magwizi, aspiring presidential Zifa candidate, talking to us about what he thinks needs to be done for the game. Is he the right man to lead Zimbabwe football? I'll leave you to ponder on that. Thank you, Magwizi, for coming to the couch.
Thank you very much.
Thank you so much. Hopefully on the 25th, you'll be the one celebrating.
I hope so. And of course, I've put my best foot forward. And I'm looking forward to the race. Thank you.
My name is Howard Musonza. The Couch back again next week, right here on ZTN Prime, and proudly brought to you by Africa Bet. Thank you for watching.